We all know about famous unsolved mysteries, the Bermuda Triangle, the Dyatlov Pass, or even the Zodiac Killer. But for every headline-making mystery, there are lesser-known stories just as chilling. In today's video, we're diving into 5 eerie mysteries you probably haven't heard of, ranging from strange disappearances to inexplicable deaths. Each of these cases leaves us with more questions than answers, and even today, they remain unsolved. Let's dive into the first one. The disappearance of Frederick Valentich. Imagine this. It's a quiet evening on October 21st, 1978. A young Australian pilot, Frederick Valentich, is flying a small Cessna plane over the Bass Strait, a body of water between Australia and Tasmania. It should have been a routine 125-mile flight, but something happens, something so strange that it's become one of the most famous aviation mysteries in history. Frederick, just 20 years old, was an experienced pilot, yet about an hour into the flight, he radioed Melbourne air traffic control with a troubling report. He claimed that an unidentified aircraft was following him. Not just any aircraft, though. Frederick described it as large, metallic, and moving at incredible speed. It had bright green lights, and no matter how he maneuvered, it stayed on his tail. In his final transmission, Frederick said the object wasn't an aircraft at all. Then, there was silence. His plane vanished without a trace. Search parties combed the area for days but found no wreckage, no sign of Valentich, and no explanation. Some believe it was a UFO encounter. Others think it was a tragic accident. Perhaps Frederick got disoriented, crashed, and the wreckage was never found. But here's the kicker. Multiple witnesses reported seeing strange lights in the sky that night, right where Frederick disappeared. Almost 50 years later, we still don't know what happened. Was it a tragic crash or something far stranger? Now, let's move on from the skies to the sea with a mystery that still baffles people over a century later. The Flannan Isles Lighthouse Mystery. Let's go back to the year 1900, to the remote and windswept Flannan Isles off the coast of Scotland. This is a place where the sea rules everything, and life can be harsh. But what happened there over a century ago still baffles people today. It's the mystery of the missing lighthouse keepers. The Flannan Isles Lighthouse was manned by 3 men, Thomas Marshall, James Ducat, and Donald MacArthur. These men were seasoned lighthouse keepers, used to the harsh conditions of the island. But one day, when a supply ship arrived to check on them, the lighthouse was deserted. The door was locked from the inside, and the fire had gone out, a clear sign no one had been there for days. Here's where things get eerie. The lighthouse logbook recorded strange entries in the days leading up to their disappearance. Marshall wrote about a severe storm that had battered the island, but no other stations reported a storm at that time. The final entry? Storm ended. Sea calm. God is over all. It was as if they had vanished into thin air. Theories about what happened range from a freak wave sweeping them away to more supernatural explanations. Some people even believe the men were taken by sea creatures or something not of this world. Despite numerous investigations, no trace of the men was ever found. How 3 experienced lighthouse keepers could disappear without a trace remains a mystery to this day. From an empty lighthouse to a horrifying unsolved crime, let's move to Germany for a chilling family tragedy. The Hinterkaifeck murders. This next case will send shivers down your spine. In 1922, on a remote farmstead in Germany, one of the most brutal and baffling mass murders in history took place. It's known as the Hinterkaifeck murders, and it's a story that will keep you up at night. The victims were a family of 6, Andreas and Cecilia Gruber, their daughter Victoria, and her 2 children, as well as the family maid. But what makes this case so unnerving are the events leading up to the murders. Andreas Gruber had noticed strange things happening around the farm in the days before the attack. Footprints in the snow leading up to the house, but none leading away. Odd noises coming from the attic, and missing keys. But when he searched, he found nothing. Then, on the night of March 31st, 1922, the entire family was brutally murdered. Each of them was killed with a mattock, a farm tool, in their barn or in their beds. The killer, however, didn't leave immediately. In fact, they stayed on the farm for several days after the murders, feeding the livestock, eating meals from the kitchen, and even making a fire in the hearth. Despite an extensive investigation, no one was ever charged with the crime. And to this day, no one knows who committed the murders or why. The Hinterkaifeck case is one of Germany's greatest unsolved mysteries, and the farm was eventually demolished, leaving nothing but questions. Now, let's move from the chilling murders in Germany to one of the strangest unsolved deaths in Brazil. The lead masks case. Now let's move to Brazil, where in 1966, a strange and baffling mystery unfolded, one that still puzzles investigators to this day. It's called the lead masks case, and it's one of the most bizarre unsolved deaths ever recorded. In August of that year, two Brazilian men, Miguel Viana and Manuel Pereira, were found dead on a hillside near Rio de Janeiro. But it wasn't their deaths that made the case strange. It was the circumstances. The men were wearing suits, and over their eyes were lead masks. Yes, lead masks, like the ones you'd use to shield yourself from radiation. There were no signs of struggle, no visible injuries, and no clues as to how they died. Nearby, investigators found a notebook with a cryptic note. The translation reads something like this: "Be at the agreed place. Take capsules at 4:30 p.m. After the effect, protect metals. Await signal." That's it. No explanation, no details. Theories about what happened to the men range from a botched scientific experiment to a bizarre cult ritual. Some even believe it was part of a UFO-related event. But no toxicology reports were ever conclusive, and we still don't know what those capsules were or why they were wearing lead masks. The case remains unsolved. For our final mystery, we're heading to the seas for a story about a ship that holds one of the most terrifying tales of all time: the SS Ourang Medan. Finally, we come to the mystery of the SS Ourang Medan, a ghost ship that will haunt your dreams. In 1947, this Dutch cargo ship was sailing through the Strait of Malacca when it sent out a terrifying distress signal. The message was brief but chilling. All officers, including the captain, are dead, lying in chart room and bridge, possibly whole crew dead. After that, only a few more words were transmitted: "I die." A nearby ship picked up the signal and rushed to the Ourang Medan's aid. When they boarded the vessel, they were greeted by a horrifying sight. The entire crew was dead, their bodies strewn across the ship, faces frozen in expressions of absolute terror. There were no signs of injury, no struggle, and no obvious cause of death. Even the ship's dog was found dead, mid-snarl. But the strangest part? Before the mystery could be properly investigated, the Ourang Medan caught fire and exploded, sinking into the depths of the sea, taking all its secrets with it. To this day, no one knows what happened on board that ship. Was it a gas leak, poisoning, or something far more sinister? There are mysteries all around us, stories that defy explanation, and each of these cases reminds us that the world is full of strange and eerie events. What really happened to Frederick Valentich, the Flannan Isles lighthouse keepers, or the crew of the Ourang Medan? Will we ever know the truth about the Hinterkaifeck murders or the lead masks case? Maybe. Or maybe these mysteries will remain unsolved, lost to history. Let me know what you think happened in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more chilling stories like these.